Okay, this is a video that's long in the making. And like I said, I hate to shit on all of y'all religious people, whether y'all be Christians, Muslims, or Jews, Sephardic, whether you are Orthodox, Sephardic Jew, whatever. But I've been telling y'all for years that y'all shit has been plagiarized dogma. You dig? Especially when it comes to the genealogy of Israel. When you find out, when you go digging through the archives of history, historical facts, it'll show you that Israel never existed. Judea never existed. And the reason why Judea and Israel never existed, because that land of what y'all call Judea all the way up to Levant was always contested land by three groups of people, three tribes of people. The Kemites out of Egypt, the Sumerians, and what you call the Phoenicians. And that land was always a back and forth between ancient Egypt or Kemet and the Sumerians. So if they running everything up all the way to the Levant, how the fuck Israel gonna have, Judea gonna ever have a chance to settle when all the historical timelines showing that it don't support that Israel even existed in that land? This blow all even the so-called Hebrew Israelite shit out of water. Hate to blow y'all bubble up, but another thing too, when you get into the genealogy of the shit, like for instance, you have the Hermetic lie. I call it the Hermetic lie, where it talked about the son, Shem, and the sons of Ham, which was cursed, supposed been cursed in the Bible. If y'all go look that up, they said the sons of Cush shall be in Cush, Punt, and It's Cush, Punt, what's the other brother name? Canaan, Put, which is the Libyans. The Cushites, or Cush, is all those people in what you call the Horn region, which is Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, all that shit down there to Tanzania and shit like that, including the ancient Kemites or Egyptians. Those are the sons of Ham, who was supposed to be cursed, and his sons were supposed to be the servants of Shem. Now, keep in mind, to show you how there's a lot of hypocrisy in the discrepancy of this story, is if the sons of Shem supposed to have been the masters of all the sons of Ham, how come the Egyptians had rulership over the Hebrews? And they'll say, well, Israel was cursed, but that was before the curse. That was before that curse. You did? Now, we all know the story of Joseph, how the Israelites, due to Joseph was taken in by Egyptian, he was, I guess, an engineer, I think Egyptian accountant. And he was raised in ancient Kemet, or Egypt. So when his brothers went to see him again, they didn't know who he was. They thought he was an Egyptian. Now keep in mind, these are supposed to be Jews. Now we all know ancient Kemet is an African civilization. It's a complete African civilization. Not no Semitic that came out the Levant. They already, all historians and shit already know that. So you had the Hebrews came in through what you call due to the what they say a famine that hit the Middle East. This the time of the Bronze Age collapse. This around the time of the Bronze Age collapse, you had The ancient Sumerians, they died off. Their civilization died off. You had the ancient the ancient Hittites died off. The only civilization that survived that was the ancient Egyptians. They survived. Kemites, Kemetsu. They the only ones survived due to the fact their source was the Nile. So you had nomadic people flooding into ancient Egypt. One of those groups of people was called the Hyksos. The Hyksos, the Egyptians let them come in, and he signed a deal with the Hyksos, and the Hyksos were mercenaries and shit like that. They fought against all the other groups, the sea people that tried to invade. They don't know where these sea people came from, but they also had contact with the Greeks as well. So what happened is the Hyksos numbers got up into Egypt, and they built their own kingdom in the Delta. What happened is the Hyksos tried to conquer Egypt. Seti I died trying to drive them out. Seti I, Imhotep, or Seti I died trying to drive them out. So his son eventually drive them out during his second rulership, drove the Hyksos out. And that is your y'all stories of the Hebrews. When they actually drove it, I didn't want a whole bunch of people they were driven out because they had a kingdom up in the Delta, and they fought against the Egyptians. The Egyptians drove the Hyksos out. That is right there is your story that is your Exodus story. The Hyksos were the Israelites. They were kicked their ass out due to a battle because they tried to conquer ancient Kemet. Now, show y'all something even deeper than that to destroy all this biblical shit. You had the Pharaoh. This is when right after they drove the Hyksos out. What happened? You had the golden period of ancient Kemet. This is the third dynasty up under what? You had Ramses the first, Ramses the second, then you had what? After all them king pharaohs, you had Akhenaten. Akhenaten brung in the golden age of ancient Kemet. If you all know who Akhenaten is, you know that kid named King Tut, Tutankhamun, King Tut, the one that got the big face mask and shit. Akhenaten was his father, right? That was his father, okay? His mother was Nefertiti. Akhenaten's mom was Queen T. They were originally out of where? What was their family line and lineage out of? Seti. Seti lays what? Down in Nubia, Sudan. That's where most of your royal family out of Egypt come from, out of Nubia. After the first, second, third dynasty, none of the pharaohs would come out of Nubia no more. They would be interlopers by what? The Assyrians, the Babylonians, excuse my nose itching. And after they was conquered, the Assyrians conquered the Babylonians, then the Persians conquered them. So what happened is you had the Persian invasion, then you had what? After the Persian, you had the Macedonian Greek invasion, which everybody think Alexander the Great was Greek. No, he was not. His mother was Greek, his dad was Macedonians, and the Greeks looked down on the Macedonians because the Macedonians wasn't no more than a whole bunch of Celtic sheep herders. They were Celts, like your Irish and Scottish. The Macedonians were Celts. So what happened is the Celts, up under Philip the Great, conquered all the Greeks. His son, he married Theodorus, which was a Greek princess, and he married her, and that's how you got Alexander. Alexander was Macedonian and Greek. Like I said, the Greeks looked down on the Macedonians because the Greeks wasn't culture. They were to the Greeks. They were savages, but they somehow learned how to fight like the Greeks, and they eventually conquered Greece, conquered the three Greek city-states at that time. Because at that time you didn't have you didn't have the Spartans no more. Spartans were conquered by the Athenians because they lost their military prowess after the Battle of Thermopylae, and the Greeks conquered them and had them as vassal states to the Persians. They were paying the Persians. But yes, like I said, that whole lie that the Hebrews were the children, that all this shit a lie. As far as what I'm gonna get into, the point is, before that, the Cushites controlled the Arabian Peninsula. Yes, the Queen of Punt controlled Arabia. The Cushites actually controlled Arabia for thousands of years. Then after that, the Aksumite Empire controlled Arabia. So the Aksumites was getting tribute from the nomadic tribes in the Arabian Peninsula. Your Mennonite Arabs were subjects to Abyssinia, and before that they were subjects to Kush. Now the Arabs didn't used to look like the Arabs you see today in the royal family. They look more like your Somalis, your Cushitic people from the Horn. They got mixed after the Ottoman Turks came down there. After after all this shit, they got mixed up. Then we had what you call you had the Slavic slave trade, just like you had the transatlantic, the trans-Arabian slave trade, the trans-Saharan slave trade, which was actually lasted longer and predated the transatlantic slave trade. So you had the Ottoman, before the Ottoman Turks, you had the Mamelukes ruling Arabia, which the Mameluke Sultanate was out of Cairo, Egypt, up under Salahuddin. Salahuddin, the one that fought against the Crusaders, Richard the Lionheart, all the motherfuckers during the Crusades. You all ever look at that movie, City of God? That movie, City of God, with Orlando Bloom in it. Good damn movie. So the Cushites, like, people got it all wrong. Actually, the Cushites, Arabic, is a language that comes from what you call the Afro-Asiatic language base. Afro-Asiatic branch is what mostly you see spoke in the Horn. Everybody that speak that language, some of the languages died, like Nubian was a mix of Cushitic and Nilotic. That's why you have a lot of Somalis, Ethiopians, Eritreans, Djiboutians. All of them were Cushitic people that were mixed with Nilotic people, mixed with some Bantu people. The first people that lived in the region were Bantu people, hunter and gatherer people. They evolved from those group of people. That's how you got today's Cushitic people. They're a little bit of mix of the old Bantu hunters and gatherers, Nilotic people and Cushitic people. Then you have they expanded into Arabia after the last ice age, and that's how you got your Arabian population that was ruled up under the Cushites. So this is real motherfucking history. Like the Bible fucked all the history up. It reversed the history. It turned the history around to put the Shemites in front, but all the lineage of all of mankind came out of Africa. You had different groups that came back into Africa, like you did have a mass migration of people that were from Asia that migrated back through the Horn area, and they intermingled with the people of Somalia, Eritrea, and Ethiopia again. But those were the people that actually left out. See, they don't want to talk about that shit. You know? But the real truth is, man, the Bible been telling y'all, all these holy books been lying to y'all. The stories is actually the reverse. That's why I say historical facts outweigh biblical religious facts. Because religion is made up to push a narrative. All these religions y'all practice is propaganda made up, and y'all follow that shit. Just saying, that's why I'm a spiritual person, not a religious person.